It's always the same with me. I order first and ask questions later. So, hello everybody. Thanks for joining me again today. Yes, I'm gonna beat this horse until it's dead. That's a terrible analogy. Terrible. Yes, I'm going to discuss this whole A6700 thing once more. I have now watched possibly every single video that's out there, even by some people that don't even have the camera yet, to get a better idea of the camera that's arriving while I am selling off my Fuji X100V. So then the coast is clear for me to purchase the A6700 from Sony and replace this ZV-E10 that I love, but it's just not a great camera to do it all. It's a great camera for video. It has terrible rolling shutter, but it doesn't overheat. The autofocus is fantastic. The colors are behaving now that I know what I'm doing. So why did I want to buy the 6700? Because the 6700 is then going to be my only camera. So I needed a hybrid shooter, something that I can take pictures with, long exposure photography, snapshots of my family, landscapes, and videos. And it seems like the A6700 does everything as excellently as me, a bloody amateur, needs it. I've been taking pictures for a while now. I even made some money. So I kind of know what I'm doing, but right now, photography and videography is a hobby only. So what I'm saying to you, take it with a grain of salt. It's not the be-all, end-all, or is that even an expression? It's just my own personal research and experience. So, the Sony A6700 on paper and as reviewed by most reviewers sounds like a fantastic camera. Yes, there are some caveats. It only has one SD card slot. Whoop-de-doo, big deal. Since 2008 and me using memory cards, I have not one card corrupt on me, not one. The other negative that I'm hearing is that there's too much of a crop when you're trying to film 120p. A cropped 120p at 4K is better than no 120p at 4K. The little bit of a crop for the slow motion or the stabilization doesn't bother me either. What bothered me were the voices that are getting louder that said that the Sony A6700 has the same problem that the ZV-E1 has, that it'll overheat and 4K, even at 24p, like 24 frames per second. So that's why I delved even more into the reviews, although I already ordered the camera, and I could as well wait until I get it delivered, hopefully at the beginning of August. But no, Karen wants to know. Karen is anxious, and Karen needs to get full information. So the first video that I watched was from Mark Bennett. And Mark Bennett, I love him dearly. He's such a cool guy. He's funny, and he knows the shit. So he didn't get overheating when the camera, and he tests the cameras on a tripod with the screen open in a studio, which is what, 23, 24 degrees Celsius. He wasn't able to get any overheating, not on 24p, not on 30p, and not on 60. But it overheated at 120 frames per second, 4K, after like 19 minutes. So again, not an issue, because who in their right mind is filming a 19 minutes straight of slow motion? I don't know. Maybe a professional photographer, videographer, but then don't buy this camera. Get an FX30 or FX3 or go full frame, whatever. So that was the first guy that tested it and found that it didn't have an issue. The second one was Gerald Undone. Very professional guy. He tested it twice, also on the tripod. Not sure if the screen was open, I don't remember, but it was on a tripod and it was in his studio, and he tested it twice, ran it twice. No issue with overheating, at least not at 24. I turn off my brain when it says 24 frames a second overheating, because that's all I'm using. Then I watched an Italian reviewer. His screen name is Simone Choe. Very good guy, young guy. He did the same test, didn't find it was overheating either at 4K 24 frames per second. Terry Warfield, I think he's American. He had the camera sitting on a black table, and I think he's in Cleveland. So it's probably warm now too. I don't know how warm Cleveland is, but it's more south than us. And he didn't find it was overheating. Gordon Lang, we all know Gordon Lang, wasn't overheating for him either, at least not for 90 minutes. I didn't write it down exactly, but he didn't get it to overheat either, but it's England. It's probably not very warm. Lee Zavitz, also no overheating. A channel called CVP, no overheating. Tech 360 TV, these guys are in Singapore, and it's hot there. He wasn't able to get it to overheat. Jevon Dovey, sorry for massacrating your name. I'm reading on my. He went out and shot pictures and filmed where he was. It was fairly hot and there was no shade. I don't know what he goes behind his house and he lives in California or something, or in Texas. I don't know. He made some videos and he didn't even talk about overheating. And then in his comment section, there was this guy who got really angry at him and said, "You paid off by the big companies. You didn't even mention overheating. We all know that it's such a big problem." And his answer was, first of all, wasn't paid to do this. It's my own opinion. And secondly, I didn't talk about overheating because it didn't experience overheating. Because when you're in a studio filming your videos on a tripod like this, yes, then you're going to run it for a long time. But when you're out and about and filming family things, even a sports game, you're not filming the whole thing. At least I hope you're not, because who the hell is going to watch that? I'm not. My sister used to do that. It was hours and hours of home videos. Maurizio Saggiamente. He got 1.5 hours at 33 degrees Celsius. That's like 100 degree or 90. I don't know. Calculate it yourself. He had 90 minutes at 33 before it overheated. Another user that got the camera to review for a few weeks was that Icelandic guy. Now, he used it in Norway in the summer, but in Norway in the summer, I don't know where in Norway because it's kind of a long, skinny land. Could be up north. He used it. He filmed slow motion with it. He filmed regular videos with it. He did not find any overheating happening on the camera while he was using it for his use cases. Again, not long-term recording like in a studio, not streaming, none of that. He was in a relatively cool environment. He was holding it with his hands, and he was filming short bursts of B-roll, family videos, whatever, like a normal person would use it. I also want to repeat something smart that Mark Bennett said during his, watch his video if you can, it's very long. It's this life question and answer that he did. You don't want to film when it's that hot outside. You don't want to take pictures. You don't want to be out there in the full sun. If I was at a sports game of my child and it's 35 degrees outside and I need to take the pictures of that soccer game, I'm going to make sure to bring an umbrella or something where I can be in the shade. I'm not going to stand there in the full sun for 2 hours filming or taking pictures. That's insanity. Even at a wedding photographer, you can bring something along that makes you be in the shade. Cameras are black. They're eating the heat. You don't want to subject any equipment to that. Maybe the FX30 and the FX3 because they have a fan in there, but and they're not even black. They're gray. See? I have a point. Don't do that generally. Don't put your cameras in the full sun. It's not good for the plastic, the metal, for nothing. Heat is not good for anything except for my cats. Now, there was two notable photographers who had overheating issues. The first one that I saw was Manny Ortiz. He put his camera flat on the ground on a table. I don't know what the temperature was. you have your battery right there. So battery always generates heat. This may be a reason that he experienced overheating. I'm not sure how long it was. The other one who had overheating issues with his 6700 was Jared Polin, the guy with the afro. He filmed the A6700 in his studio, filming him. So you could see the screen closed on the camera and the overheating symbol popping up. Again, studio, probably lights, and screen closed. We know that this can cause issues even on cameras that normally don't have issues. We can tell from all of that the camera probably will get very warm. And if you have certain conditions that you're filming in, you may have problems with the camera overheating. This A6700. So if you're filming a lot and you're filming at high frame rate constantly, I would recommend you not getting this camera. Get a camera with a built-in fan, like an FX30 or full frame FX3. So you're never gonna have that problem. You can run that thing for hours and hours and hours and hours. If it's a studio setting, open your screen, put the thing on a tripod. Don't put it on a flat surface, metal, maybe even metal surface would be better. But don't put it on like a wooden table or something that doesn't transfer heat. And then you should be fine. Until I have the camera in hand, I cannot tell you who's right. So we have to wait. What I am going to tell you is if it does overheat and when it does overheat for me. I'm filming with the camera standing in a window and it's summer. It's kind of blocked a little bit by a couple of white screens, but it still gets fairly warm in my studio. 24 degrees is not uncommon in summer. So here's my promise to you. When I get the camera, I'm hoping for the end of July. I'm expecting the beginning of August. As soon as I get this camera, I'm going to set it up, I'm going to test it, and I will tell you what my findings are. I'm not a camera reviewer. I'm just a user. I also want to say this. There are reviewers on YouTube who get stuff sent to them by companies. But I want to say, if a reviewer finds that there's a problem with the camera, even if it's a small reviewer and he got the camera to review for free, I want to bet with you that these guys would say that. They would say it, because in the end, there's going to be receipts. Like it said V1. Everybody knew it was overheating at one point. So what sense does it make if you say, no, it doesn't overheat? No, no. You got to be honest. You got to be, and I want to bet with you that a lot of these, even small channels, are going to say, if they didn't find the camera was overheating on their use case, then they're saying it didn't overheat for them. And that's the truth. The Fuji X100V overheated after 7 minutes on 4K. That is a problem. If this new camera gives me 45 minutes, I'll take it. I'm really looking forward to getting the new camera, and I'm looking even more forward to sharing my findings with you. So thanks again for watching today, and I hope I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.